first one.
Hey, how are we all? Look who I just found hanging around in a bar. So I'm not sure what advice is going to be given today, but all I can tell you is that it absolutely... Oh, hang on a second. We're going to actually make a little bit of an adjustment to what we're doing. Look at this. Oh, my goodness.
A better angle.
It is. Is it? Hang on. Look at this. Look, we are making things move at the time.
We're upside down then.
Oh, we're upside down.
It's not going to work. It's all good.
I tried.
No worries. Thank you, darling. Let me just do this. Look at this.
Really?
Will that work? No, it's not going to work. Alrighty, it's not going to work. Don't worry about it. We're going back to where we were, which was here. Alrighty.
Bend down for you guys.
Sit on the chair.
Oh, there you go.
There you go. Sit on the chair. Anyhow, alrighty. I'm with Troublesome here, as you can gather. Mr. Bryan Marsh is our very first interview for the NMD series for the month of March. I'm super excited because when I did a shout out to our national marketing directors, they did not hesitate to put their hands up and say, "Yep, want to share." As you can see, we have our national marketing directors are really, really smart, intelligent people. This would be Christine Drummond. Oh no, and there's more coming here now. Look at this.
Hey, Kirsty Ostwald.
Oh my goodness.
How are we going to concentrate with you two in the background?
So now you know why I actually have so many grey hairs. This is my team, okay? This is who I have to put up with every day, the national marketing directors. But as I said though, when we did a shout out about being prepared to share with all of you just some wisdom around what were the top 3 lessons on the journey so far, I was inundated. In fact, I've got a longer list than what we have days in the month, which is really, really exciting. So if there are, over time, you know, as we're doing this over the course of the month, if there are any particular questions that you'd love to have answered, don't hesitate to actually message me and we can kind of go. So, Bryan, hey, we've got Caitlin on here. Oh, Bryan, you just joined us. Thanks for joining.
I need another fan. I have to have more views than everybody else.
Oh, absolutely. He's a bit competitive here, getting started.
Hey, Ruth,
so look,
Melanie,
look.
Kirsty, Caitlin.
Wow,
come on,
so
let's get this.
Oh, Lauren's watching. She's inside. Anita. Hey, Amy, how you going?
Barry's
Denise.
in the house. Denise from Tasmania. Awesome. Celine.
It's fantastic. So, Bryan, I know your journey has been, you know, what is it now? Is it 2 years?
2 years and 1 week.
2 years and 1 week. Happy birthday.
Thank you.
And
I didn't get any flowers.
No, you didn't. Never mind. I will sort that out. But yeah, so over that time, I know that there's been, you know, lots of highs, but in there's never highs without the lows. We all know that. Sometimes we just don't see them. But also, too, we don't see the lessons oftentimes that people are learning to be able to push through. What would you say are the top 3 things that you've learned in this journey?
Thank you. This opportunity. Katie Ravey said something to me when I met her about a year ago, and it made a lot of sense. That the more you know, the slower you go. And we made this mistake in the beginning, and we know other team are making this mistake now. That people come into this business and think they need to know the compensation plan, or think they need to know the entire ingredients list in the capsules or in the complete powder, and it kind of derails their business because the compensation plan is set up for quick success, right?
Yes, absolutely.
We're rewarded for getting into action and going quickly.
Totally.
And I think the more time you spend on non-high paying activities will slow your business down and derail it. And I have experienced that myself, and I've seen other people experience it, that you know, you don't need to be the expert. You don't need to know what the compensation plan is doing, or you don't need to know a lot about the product because you've got amazing support around you. At the end of the day, we all have systems, we all have mentors, we all have coaches, we all have people, sideline buddies that you can reach out to when you've got questions. And the people I see rocketing it in our business get into action really quickly, like really quickly. They're not focused on studying, they're not focused on doing things that aren't going to pay them. They're focused on their high-paying activities. So number one is definitely the more you know, the slower you go.
Yeah, I love that. Somebody said to me many, many moons ago, be the messenger, not the message. And that same kind of thing. Don't try and learn it all and get into it. And in fact, it's why we set the bonus plan up actually the way we have. For that very, very reason, you know, what I know to be true is that you can literally trip yourself up because you're trying to learn everything in those first few, those first few weeks, months, whatever. Whereas if you think about our compensation plan, in the first 10 days you're rewarded for getting into action. That's how quickly it is. And in those first 40 days, there's no way that if you were to know everything about the compensation plan, everything about the product and all that, that you'll get anywhere in those first 40 days. So that's why it's deliberately set that way, to move you into action, into conversations and doing the high-paying activities, rather than having to do all of that research. We've done it for you.
Definitely. And I see people coming into our business and trying to work out how much they're going to get paid. Yeah. They're studying things that even I don't understand. You know, I've been in the business 2 years and they're, okay, I'm going to get paid this amount of money and I'm counting on it, but they're not a high-paying activity. Yeah. I didn't even look at my check in the first few months because we were in action, right? It was irrelevant because what we were making those first few months wasn't where we wanted to be. Yeah. So we were very focused on it. And I heard Simon Chen share something the other day. He said, be the trailer, not the movie.
Oh, I love that.
It's
really
so good,
that.
right?
Yeah, that's awesome.
Be the trailer, not the movie. And if you're trying to learn things because you feel like you need to explain it to people, you're being the movie and not the trailer.
I heard recently, and I don't know whether it was on one of Simon's podcasts or somewhere, but it reminded me of what we're told years ago, is that, you know, especially in our beautiful compensation plan, the reality is that the sale you make today, the first orders and all the rest kind of thing, with great customer care actually can be paying you for years. I know we have people in our business here in Australia that are being paid on the same orders for 20 years nearly, okay, because they've got customers that have actually stayed the course. So when somebody, you know, is so focused on what are they earning from that first check, whatever, it's actually not even real, because that's only the first drip that you're getting from the first check, if you know what I mean. Because if you are, you know, basically looking after people and they become a product of the product with Juice Plus, they will continue consuming that for years to come. And if you stay in the game, you actually get paid on that order for years to come.
So good, because I use it as a part of our events. Because when I met Mark Dragon, and he had been on the product for 20, 21 years, and I explained that, imagine him being your customer that you're being paid on for 21 years. That's a sustainable business.
It's awesome. And like, I mean, it's not just even a fairy tale. This is fact. We've got lots and lots of distributors that have got customers for 5, 10, 15, 20 years, where it's awesome to actually look back. And then we started doing thank you calls actually to customers, just random thank you calls from our office to those people who've been on the product for so long, just because, you know what, they are huge advocates for what we do. So yeah, all comes back to that point that Bryan made. Just get into action. Don't try and overcomplicate it by trying to learn everything. What would be the next lesson that you've learned?
It's definitely a follow-on to that, and hopefully no one is offended by this, but you aren't that special. Yeah. Okay, because you are, because you pay me.
Oh, okay. You did a big turnaround there, didn't you?
I think, you know, some people come into the business and feel like they need to have certifications in nutrition or life coaches or need to have these experiences in their life. I don't know a lot about nutrition. Okay?
Really?
I don't. But other people around me do.
He took his Juice Plus today so he could have his few beers.
That's exactly right. But the thing is, like, I'm not that important. There's a system in place. We all have systems and they're very similar to each other, but it's the system that creates that success. We're not doing it. You know, it's the system, and that's the whole franchise model. People are attracted to a franchise because someone's done the hard work first and applied it and created success, and that's the only reason why we joined the business, because we saw other people create the success. But that had nothing to do with me. So I'm not that important. I need to get out of the way. And I know that some people encourage people to go and do nutritional courses or whatever because it's helped them. But you are setting yourself up to be an expert, and no one can be that same person.
It's not duplicatable.
No, it's not duplicatable. And like Simon Chen says, you are training your prospect from the first time you meet them. So if you need to be an expert and you need to have all the answers, it's not duplicatable, it's not sustainable, you can't do that. this is the beauty of this business, that anyone can come into it. The systems, the training is all in place, and you can create that success through it. You're out.
See ya. Bye. Not going to say hello? Stick your head in and say hi.
Just another photo bomber. So it makes so much sense, right?
It really does. I remember a lady, Louisa Clark was her name, and we're talking probably about 25 years ago. Wow. Pretty much had the same message to me.
I was 5.
Shut up.
I'm joking. I wasn't.
I was only 15, okay? But yeah, she actually said the same thing to me in a different... She says, don't be the expert. Don't try and know. And back in those days, for those of you who know my history, back in those days, I was a Tupperware chick. And so, you know, I know people that actually spent so much time learning everything that was in the catalogue, what the price was, what page number it was on, everything. It was like, really? Yeah. That sounds like a job to me. I'm not doing that. And so, you know, it was just, again, it's just a very basic example of it. But, you know, if somebody would say, you know, what is it or where is it on the page? And I go, all right, first person to find it gets a prize. I didn't need to know that. What my job was just about getting to know beautiful people and really just plugging into the system that was already there and not trying to be the expert. As Bryan says, we're really, none of us, not one of us is that important. We are part of something that's so much bigger than ourselves, and if we get that we're just one part in that puzzle and that together we're all pretty amazing, I think that's kind of will set you up for success as you go forward.
Definitely. That's it.
And number 3.
Your next $1 million is going to come from the person that you are becoming. Personal development. I like that. All right, I heard it on the weekend, but I'm all into personal development. And sure, I haven't made $1 million in this business, but we all have the opportunity to make $1 million.
Totally.
The 54, 55 people that are on here can have that success. So it's irrelevant about how much money you've made. It's about the money that you're going to make. But it comes from the person you're becoming in personal development.
Yep.
Now, my advice around that, and I have seen people go on a tangent of personal development that hasn't helped their business.
Yep.
And if your goal for the next couple of years is to grow your business because you're in pain and it's the business that's going to help you get out of that, focus on personal development that's going to grow your business, okay? Not personal development that can derail you. And there's so much out there, personal development, and people can get caught up in this black hole or this downward spiral of doing things that are irrelevant to growing their business. And so, you know, if that's you and you know everyone needs to grow, we all need to grow. We're all at a place to get to the next level, we need to grow. But my growth is different to yours, but it needs to be focused on that objective, you know, that outcome that I'm trying to achieve. So if you're at that place and you know you need to grow, then reach out to your upline or people that you trust and ask them, where do I need to go to work? Don't just go and start engaging in courses that no one else has used to create success in this business. You know what I mean? Like, I think it's important.
I agree totally. I remember having a conversation with someone not that long ago, actually, and we just talked about the fact that we know that personal development is just so important. Grow, you know, it really is. Grow me, grow my business, grow others and whatnot as well. I know over the journey, and I've been walking this journey now for 30 plus years, that each step was about learning. How could I stretch myself even more? And so I'm very blessed to have been able to sit at the feet of many different teachers. Some of those teachers, though, were people who were sideline buddies.
Yeah, there you go.
You know, it wasn't that I actually went out and invested in big courses in the beginning. Some of them were the books that I remember Jim Rohn saying it early on in the piece, and so I was really diligent about it. He said, I'm trying to remember the exact words, but basically it was around about that you moved up based on the number of books that you read. It was like that step ladder, each one that you read a book. And so books I could go and get books and read them and kind of imagine that I'm sitting at the feet of that teacher. And so, you know, building my bookcase, but not just building the bookcase because they looked good on there, reading them, and then most importantly, I don't care whether it's a book, a podcast, a course, apply it. Apply it. I've seen so many where they will go to one course after another, and then it's the course's fault that life hasn't changed, but it's actually not. It's what we do with what we've learned. I think that's the thing, and you're going to learn so much over this month. Different people sharing different perspectives about their lessons. This is a motivational personal development course on steroids.
Yeah, definitely.
Right here. I mean, if you were to apply some of the things even that Bryan, we're only on day one, that Bryan has shared, I know that that's where your business will change. I remember Bryan right early on in the piece, and he what he thought you right at the very beginning here was about, like, just get into action. You don't have to know everything and all the rest. And I remember him saying that he spoke to, it might have even been, was it Keith?
Keith, yeah.
And that right at the very beginning, to say, just be the student.
That's right.
Get in, be the student and do it.
Get into action.
Now, what was important there, though, is not what Keith said to him. It's what Bryan did. Which is what he did. He took that on board and he went, right, okay, I am going to... He had all of the reasons or excuses why he could go on his own tangent, because he's already a successful businessman in his own right. But he took that on board and he went, okay, I'm going to be the student. If these people are doing this and that's what I want to achieve, that's what I'm going to do. Yeah. And that was one of the things that I think held me in good stead early on. I just watched the feet, not the lips, just the feet of the people that I wanted to follow and emulate. Yeah. And I thought, okay, well, that's what I'm going to do.
Yeah. And Keith said to me, treat it as a business. Yeah. Was one of the things he said. And that resonated with me, because prior to this, we looked at buying another franchise, but it was a more traditional coffee shop franchise for $350,000. So to me, it made a lot of sense. Why don't I treat this franchise as a business that I spent $350,000 on? The system that works. Plug into the system. Do what my uplines have done to create their success, and just do more of it. And that's how I innovated. I just did more of it for some quick growth. So
your work ethic will determine how quickly you go, really. At the end of the day, guys, it's attitude, commitment and effort. The ACE checkup that we talk about oftentimes, that's really what it's going to come down to. Are you prepared to put the effort in? Now, what I know to be true too, just to kind of as we wrap this up, Bryan, is that you made sure too that you committed to, again, what the successful people were doing, and one of those big rocks was getting to conference.
Oh, yes.
And we've got 2 conferences coming up. Yes. We've got our New Zealand conference, which is basically about 4 weeks, I think. We're excited. He's going to be emceeing. Okay, official announcement, MC. Okay, I'm going to get out of the way.
Esther.
And that, and going, oh, hey, Gordon. Look at you, we're hanging out on the Gold Coast.
Yeah.
And so, and then of course we have our conference in June in Perth. 2 that I can tell you that we are putting everything into, that we really want to be able to create amazing experiences for you. Why get to conference?
If you need success in this business, like if you are in pain, and that's why people join a business, right? They're joining a business because they're in pain, they need to create something. Those 3 elements of success, one, having desire, so we're in pain, where do we want to be in 3 months or 6 months? Consistency around our high-paying activities, doing the work, but being teachable. There is a system in place that creates that success. We're not that important. A part of that system is getting to conference. A part of that system is getting around other people that have created that success, meeting them. Because the thing that happens is, yes, you're going to learn a lot, but your belief in the business, the product, in yourself increases. And we are our best sales tool. That's it. It's us. That's the only thing we've got. That's the only uniqueness in this business. We've all got the same product, compensation plan. We've all got the same opportunity, but we need to go to work on ourselves around personal development. So getting to conference means that your belief increases. I have not seen, and I've only been in the business 2 years, but I haven't seen anyone create success that hasn't been teachable around getting to events. You might create some little success, some quick success, getting to SDVF, SC, whatever, but having that long-term success that's going to pay you for the rest of your life, which is why we're in this business, it's about events, conferences.
And I think too, we will say this with love, okay? The reality is, and I'm saying I've been around for 30 years, and honestly, I have not seen anybody that actually is not turning up for conference, not plugging into the community and learning that, like just that belief, like Bryan said, it's about, belief in product, belief in company, belief in industry, belief in self. All of our conferences, any of these large events are actually geared towards helping you to be able to have those stronger beliefs in all of those areas, which will make you unstoppable. Because when certainty kind of comes into the picture, when you're really, really clear about that and your belief is rock solid, there will be nothing or no one that will get in your way. And that's really the thing. We've seen this with Bryan already, and Fiona and their whole team, with their really, really focus on being certain about why they are in this business and then really embracing the system that's there. So I know that there are all the excuses under the sun. Been there, done that, have the t-shirt. But all I can say to you guys, if you truly see this as your way out, see this as the vehicle towards your dreams, then there should be no excuses about conference. It's, you know, honestly, sleep on the floor, sleep, whatever. It is definitely possible. You can make it happen. So for our New Zealand crew, we've got 4 weeks out. We have an amazing, amazing day planned for you. A day and a half, actually, leadership on Friday afternoon, a guest event Friday night, and a conference all day Saturday with a party that night. I can honestly say to you, we've got an amazing day planned for you. You don't want to miss out. Get on a train, get on a bus, carpool, whatever. I know that there is ways for you to be there. And for Perth, oh my gosh, I was sending more photos to the designer last night from the Robbie Williams concert. Do you think we could do this?
Robbie Williams is coming to the conference?
Robbie's not hanging out, but, you know.
One thing about that conference thing is that who is the next Jeff Roberti here? Yeah. And if you think about it, Jeff slept in his car, right? That's the story we've been told.
Yep.
So you can't find accommodation in New Zealand? Find a car, hire a car and sleep in it.
Yep.
Do you know what I mean? Borrow your friend's car. You're like, if you can't get there, you can't afford to do it, borrow someone's car and sleep in it. Be the next Jeff Roberti in this business. Yeah. Hopefully you're in my team.
Yeah, I think that sometimes, and again, we're saying this from love, I think sometimes people are not prepared to make sacrifices. They're not prepared to make the sacrifices now so that you can have what you want to have for forever, for down the track kind of thing. And that's what it comes down to. It's being prepared to make the sacrifices, and that would be what I would say. Ask yourself, what's it worth? You know, why am I going to do it? Well,
I heard someone share on the weekend about that. You're either paying the pain now or later on. Yeah. You're either making the sacrifices now to get out of that pain, or you're still going to be in pain later on.
Yeah, true.
If you don't make different decisions today, tomorrow's going to look exactly the same. Do you know what I mean? So if you haven't got that ticket to Auckland for the New Zealand conference, or you haven't got the ticket
and Sonny's coming across. He's going to be sleeping. Okay, Tim, let's sleep in your Mitsubishi. Awesome. I want to see that. I want to see that selfie.
Sonny can do it. You guys can
Absolutely.
do it.
And Sonny's coming all the way from Perth. And, you know, and again, and I want to thank all of the leaders that are getting on planes and coming across to be able to sow wisdom in and whatever like that. And Sonny is you know, a dad with 2 young kids, and that as well. And Val there. And Val came to the last one, and Sonny's coming to this one. And that, so whatever it is that you are telling yourself at the moment as to why you can't go, let's rip that story up. Yep. Let's throw that one out and come hanging with us, because we're having an absolute ball here today, just hanging out with some of those very leaders actually that are coming across to be able to bless you guys in a few weeks' time.
Yeah.
Well, we should probably wrap up, because we've been talking and talking.
Want to show them who's
let's come in. I'm going to take you on a little tour. We have all gathered together.
Peace out, guys.
We've gathered together in the Gold Coast, up in the Gold Coast for another conference, and so we're hanging out with all of our NMDs, some of the guys here today. So I'm going to bring you in. We've just had a beautiful lunch, and that as well. Okay, team, do you want to say hi? Woo, woo.
Whoa. Hey, Bryan Marsh, you're a star.
Hey, Barry, it's your birthday.
Look, everybody's been hanging out.
Oh, fancy the line.
So yeah, so awesome group, absolutely hanging out and you know, sharing some wisdom here. But again, thank you, Bryan.
It was upside down when you went around.
Was it? He's upside down.
Let's do it again.
All right. Okay, they're upside down. Seemingly you were all upside down. All good. As you can see, we don't take ourselves too seriously. We have a lot of fun. So
come say hello at conference. Absolutely. If you're not at conference, forget me. Befriend me.
Okay. See you, everybody. Bye.